Bloggo's POW.
Okay, let's have a look at 4 Lightgun arcade games from the 80s. Righty, so the first game we have is, if this guy finishes getting ready,
Operation Wolf.
That's right, Operation Wolf. Okay, let's get started. Now this, there was Lightgun games in the arcade before this, and this is the one that started really to bring it home. I mean, there were things like Hogan's Alley prior to this, but this is the first one that really managed to capture the public's imagination. It's a really intense game. He played it with a full-size Uzi mounted on the cabinet, and it felt like somewhat more adult than previous gun games in the arcade. Really nice detailed graphics. And very initially tough gameplay, but I got really good at it. I can finish this in the arcades, and I'm not going to play this version all the way through simply because I will complete it. Admittedly, it does lose something in playing it under emulation, because playing with a mouse pointer makes it incredibly easy to aim, making it more of a point-and-click adventure, if you will, where the only option is use machine gun on man. Yeah, LucasArts this isn't, is it? But anyway, yes, it was a really a watershed moment in arcade gaming, and as we'll see, other companies wanted a piece of the pie. Right, so we finished the first stage. Let's go to the jungle for some intelligence. Apparently, I'm going to shoot some boffins. Oh, maybe a coconut. That'll do. Oh, Pepsi. Now, this did come home to various home formats. Console-wise, NES and Master System, but I think a lot of people in this country know it more from the 8-bit versions of the Commodore 64, Spectrum, Amstrad, and of course on the Amiga and ST as well, all handled by Ocean to varying degrees of success. Look, people have made videos on those sorts of comparisons before, so I'm not going to dwell on it, but it is a really great game. Seems to be set in a fictional South American Banana Republic sort of country. Maybe Valverde, if you like Commando, which this game seems to owe a lot to. Valverde being that fictional place they like in movies. I think Commando was set in Valverde as well. I can't remember. I'm sure my friend Steve will comment if it was or wasn't, because he wants to go and live in Valverde, but I haven't got the heart to tell him it's not a real country. I think he wants to be the El Presidente there. So yes, I've not much more to say about Operation Wolf. It's very good, and still fun to play today. You can play it on more modern formats on the PS2 and the original Xbox on the Taito arcade compilation thing, whatever it's called. But sadly, no light gun support, which is unusual because both games had a light gun. Now I'm reaching the end of the stage. I know that because if I destroy that tank, I've cleared it, because it's got a helpful meter there at the side to tell you how many bad guys you've got to kill before the end of the stage, which is handy. So we're going to the village for a rest. Nice rest in the village. Oh, I thought it was going to be a bit more picturesque than this. It's just a couple of wooden huts. Anyway, yeah, so let's move along, because Taito followed this up a year or so later with another game. Right, so next up, the terrorists have kidnapped a plane full of Americans, because you can't have that, and they've flown them to a country that's definitely not Libya. Okay, right, so this is, of course, Operation Thunderbolt. So, let's get started. We play as Roy Adams, and his player 2's his mate, who I really can't remember what his name is.
Rescue all hostages.
Jeff. Ian Mercenary. There we go. Copyright Yesterdazine, I'm sure. So, Operation Thunderbolt immediately, aside from the 2-player mode, ups it by putting in these 3D stages. Which technically they're better, but I don't think the game looks as good as Operation Wolf as a result. These scaling guys are all nice and good in that. Now, I'm just going to approach the elephant in the room, or the crosshair in the middle of the screen if you like. Playing this on emulation, for some reason that 2-player crosshair centres if you try and get rid of it like that, so that's a bit annoying, so you'll just have to put up with that. But yes, it's good old-fashioned fun. In 2 players, it's an absolute riot in the arcades. In fact, if you were at Play Expo, well, I know definitely last year's London Play Expo had this there, along with Operation Wolf to play. I presume Manchester and Blackpool did. So, if you find yourself at Play Expo in Margate in February, you should be able to play it there as well. So that's always nice to play the original hardware, isn't it? Especially with the gun game. This one's unusual because, okay, so playing on MAME, you've got the crosshair to help you. This one actually gives you a laser sight at some point that helps you aim, which is a nice addition. You've noticed I picked up a flak jacket as well, which apparently helps your life. So we made contact with an intelligence agent and obtained some information. Tell us what information. Now, mission 2 is a bit more traditional Operation Wolf, so it's a sideways scrolling bit like this. One thing this is missing, Operation Wolf had that counter that told you how many bad guys were left to finish level. This doesn't. It's more done on a timer sort of thing. Okay, oh, knives. I'm not concentrating. Alright, have a grenade. Have a grenade, Mr. Tower. Oh dear, I'm not doing very good at the local tradition of knife juggling and grenade juggling. Locals apparently are very good at it. I'm not. Lots going on the screen on this as well, which is nice, but can be overwhelming in single player. Already losing a lot of life. Of course, this came out on home formats as well, again courtesy of Ocean for the 8-bit and 16-bit computers. The only console version I can remember is, strange enough, this is a Super Nintendo version. Oh, got a laser sight, you can just about see it there. Super Nintendo version. This is a bit of an unusual thing because this was already a pretty old game. The Super Nintendo version has selectable characters and sort of an RPG-like sort of storyline thing going on. And you can play it with a Super Scope. Now, I don't have a Super Scope anymore because my the guttering broke on my shed and I needed a downpipe to replace it, so I used my Super Scope instead. Because it's more useful than as a light gun. Right, so just going to have a quick on the next stage because it's another of those 3D ones. Yes, raid was successful. Ammunition and jeeps. Other 4-wheel drive vehicles are available. So they start chucking everything at you, like they've got, I think the MiG-31s dive bombing you and dropping bombs in your path and just generally being dicks. I'm nearly dead. I know, I don't really care actually. But yeah, Operation Thunderbolt is good fun. Definitely more fun than 2 players, but I don't think it's as good as Operation Wolf. What do you think? Right, so next up we have mechanized attack, and it appears SNK wanted some of that sweet Operation Wolf cash, so they came up with this. Again, 2 players. Save captured spies. Okay, well that's fairly straightforward, and make our way around an island. Stage 1's the landing, so off we go. Same sort of layout, machine gun, grenades. This is hard. This really does throw everything at you instantly. As a result, I can never get past stage 2 in the arcades. If I even get that far today, I'll probably use a continue just to show you the second stage. It, for at least as far as I've played it, doesn't have any 3D scaling sections like Thunderbolt does. Quite generous with the ammunition. There we go. Oh, and we've got a boss. Operation Wolf and Operation Thunderbolt. I don't think actually had. Well, Operation Wolf has a boss right at the very end of the game, a helicopter gunship. But Operation Thunderbolt, I don't actually remember having any bosses. I think the final thing in Operation Thunderbolt is you've got to stop the pilot from being harmed so you can escape. But this actually has bosses. As you can see, it's very Operation Wolf styled. And let's stick some more credits in. Yeah, it's very hectic. It makes more sense to play this in 2 players. This got converted only, as far as I'm aware, to the NES. I don't think there was any other home ports of it. I don't think I've played the NES version. It's one of those games that I think, at least when I had my Retro Freak, it wouldn't work properly. So I can't tell you how good or bad it was. Maybe I should have another go at that at some point. So there we go. Let's wonder how effective it is to take on a battleship with a machine gun. Nice little battle damages as you go along. Have a grenade. That's good. How many grenades got left? 1. This has got different types of grenades. You've got a standard hand grenade which you start with, and I appear to have a rocket grenade as well. So have another rocket grenade. There we go, that's nice. And the boss here is this helicopter gunship, which died very quickly. Okay, let's move on to the next stage. Oh, landed safely, and they look happy running up the beach. Watch out, they are in the woods. Oh yeah, this is like a bonus stage where you shoot these tanks and you get a chance to get some of your weaponry back, which I seem to be failing horribly. I could do with some health, you know, that'd be nice. You cleared. Lovely. Right. Move along to stage 2, infiltration. And here we go. This is the thing with this game. Suddenly, it turns out they're all Terminators. What a twist!
Oh, you are dead.
All Terminators. Now, one thing I'm going to mention, I'm not going to play the T2 arcade game because I think it's a huge boredom fest. The enemies are too strong, take too many hits, it's just not fun. So, mind you, this isn't massive amounts of fun, it's nowhere as good as the other games we've played so far, but, you know, it'll do. But yes, mechanized attack, its gimmick is Terminators. But that's the only gimmick it's got. Oh well, let's move along. Right, so next up we have Beastbusters. So let's get those other cursors out the way, get a credit in. Now this is 3 players, so they've upped it again. SNK have decided that 2 players wasn't enough and 3 players is the way to go. So here we go. Now one thing I'll say is the emulation, at least the mouse calibration on this is a bit off, so it's hard to aim on this. I just couldn't get it fixed. But here we go, section 1 mystery zone. See what I mean? I'm aiming up here, but the shots are coming up down there. But yeah, we'll deal with it. It's just a case of calibrating your brain. So this is what happens when you let somebody who obviously really likes George A. Romero movies design an arcade game. And that guy really looks like Bub, doesn't he? If you've seen Day of the Dead. This came out on the Commodore Amiga and the Atari ST, I seem to remember. I don't think the 8-bit versions were advertised but came out. I really can't remember. I don't remember playing any of the 8-bit versions, but they might exist, they might not, who knows. I did enjoy playing this down the arcades a lot, but I was really going through a George A. Romero sort of zombie sort of phase of watching any zombie movie, so this really fitted in with that at the time. Have a grenade. Oh, totally missed it. Some of the zombies have guns because, you know, they do. But you can see it's running on the obviously running on the same hardware as Mechanized Attack because it looks very similar. We're down dead. There's some credits. Very similar explosions and animations to Mechanized Attack, so it really is essentially the same game as Mechanized Attack, but with the undead instead of Terminators. Oh, well, I didn't get that grenade, that's annoying. Mind you, I've got a super flame grenade, which is cool. Again, lots going on the screen. If you're playing this 3 players, it's really cool. I'll tell you what is cool. Obviously all these games we've looked at have some sort of machine gun mounted to the cabinet, and those of you who follow me on Twitter, last year I think it was, I went to Home Bay Arcades and they were closing down, one of the arcades, and I was talking to the guy who runs it and he showed me the back room. He had loads and loads of arcade stuff at the back, piles of PCBs, bits and pieces from arcade machines, and I noticed in the box a couple of the guns from a Beastbusters cabinet, so God knows what happened to the rest of the cabinet, but it was just an interesting thing to see. There was a follow-up to this, I think. There's a game on the Neo Geo Pocket, which apparently was a Beastbusters style RPG. I can't remember the name of it. And was there a sequel to this? I really can't remember. Oh well, I'll have to Google that later. Oh, some bonus bits and pieces falling from the sky. But yeah, it's a different kind of game. It's probably a better game than Mechanized Attack, but not a patch on the Taito games, I'd say. A little bit too frantic for single player action. And at the moment, playing it with this uncalibrated aiming thing really is a bit of a pain in the arse. So yeah, Beastbusters, not bad, is it? Right, that was just 4 of the many Lightgun games from the arcades. What did you think of them? Comment below.
Yeah, subscribe or naff off.